Alright, what's up YouTube? This is your boy Alex. Today's Monday afternoon. Alright, this is going to be another YouTube announcement. I'm going to make a brand new YouTube channel somewhere in mid to late January of 2021. Now, as you do know, before I start the video presentation, before I start it off, I have to make a public apology. Now, you might say, Alexander, why are you making a YouTube video on a Monday afternoon and trying to make a public apology? Because my producer broke his foot off in my you-know-what and told me that he wants to keep the content 100% gender neutral. He wants my content moving forward to be for women and for men, and told me no more of this bias nonsense of you favoring one side over the other. He wants a fair balance, and he basically gave me his new rules. So from now on the Alexander YouTube channels, there will be no more profanity language on those channels. There'll be no profanity. My dad doesn't like me using profanity. My producers do not like me using profanity, period. So no profanity. Number two, all of these videos will be for both, for women and for men. And number three, we will not offend anyone of any race or gender whatsoever. These are his rules, not mine, and he's making me abide by the rules. Now, I'll still talk about television and film, comic books, video games, anime. I'll still talk about that. But most definitely, he wants me to abide by these new rules. Now, before I start the video presentation, let me make the public apology, and then let me explain what is the purpose for the public apology. Now, basically, YouTube temporarily froze my YouTube channel, and you do know 99.999% when you get a YouTube channel frozen temporarily, usually you don't get that channel back. It could be like 5 years or 10 years later, they give you back that channel. There are some YouTubers that have actually had that. There are some big name and small name YouTubers that have had their channels suspended multiple times because they either offended someone. So in this video, I basically want to apologize to any black women, any white women, any Latina, or any Asian women if I offend them in any mere shape or form. I apologize if the last 2 or 3 videos were a bit from out of nowhere and over the top or too extreme. I try to diet it down. I try to tone it down. I try to make it to where you can understand me. 2020 is a very tough year. So everybody has feelings and emotions. Everybody has good days. Everybody has bad days. And I say in all my YouTube videos, try not to use no profanity language. I try to make good content videos, fun, exciting, entertaining videos. So again, I want to say I apologize to any woman who I might have offended. Now, I don't think I've done nothing wrong, but my producer told me if you don't go on camera and you don't give out a good explanation, people are going to naturally assume that you must have something to hide because you're not explaining yourself. You're not being Pacific. We're being very Pacific because people watch my videos 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and we don't know who watched these videos, but when they watch them, they let me know if they're offended or if they're not offended. Now, as of lately, most women are not offended, but there is someone who was offended because they got my channel temporarily suspended, and they want to send me a message that they're not happy about those last 2 or 3 videos. I understand that. I've said it a total of 10 times. Not everybody likes my content. Not everybody wants me making YouTube videos. So it happens. It's a part of life. It happens. Now, this YouTube video is going to be called Sex Game, YouTube, and Bad Light. Now, I did say about 2 months ago that I was going to make a part 2 to what happens when a YouTuber tries to create art, tries to create content, and then it blows up in that person's face, and things don't always go as it appears to be. So I'm going to do this as a compare and contrast. All right, now, let's break it down like this. I'm pretty sure everyone's gone to high school and college. the vast majority of us have graduated from high school and college. Now, being a YouTube superstar is something that's close to being like a Hollywood celebrity. Now, 14 years ago, when I was in high school, there was this one popular guy who played basketball and football at Westchester High School in Los Angeles, California. And he looked at me with this look and he said, when you become popular, you're going to get a lot of hate. And I said, why you say that? And he said, when you get popular and you get very successful in anything, you're going to get a lot of player haters. And when he first said it, I was confused. I didn't understand what he said. And then fast forward 14 years later, I understand exactly what he said. Basically, the guys that were playing basketball and football in high school and college, they were getting all of the attention from all the women. And the guys that could not play basketball and football were jealous and resentful of the guys that could play basketball and football. Popularity, right? I'm pretty sure the vast majority of us graduated from high school and college, and there is a social order, a social pecking order, and a social hierarchy where there's one group called the popular people, and there's another group called the non-popular people. Now, the popular people were the guys that played basketball, football, baseball, ran track in high school and college. They were the jocks. They were the guys that got all the respect, all the attention. They got to take the women out to lunch and dinner. And, of course, there was bragging about it. Today we have social media, obviously. And the women who were popular, you had the most popular girl. Now, black women, white women, Latina women, and Asian women, all of y'all can contest to this 99.99%. That there was a thing called homecoming queen, prom queen. Every woman knows what I'm talking about. If you're a black woman, a white woman, a Latina woman, an Asian woman, you know what I'm talking about. Whoever became prom queen or homecoming queen got to date the captain of the basketball team and the football team, or the baseball team, or the track team. And the girl who never won the title of prom queen or homecoming queen was jealous and resentful. Now, you fast forward to 10, 15, 20 years later, when we've all graduated high school and college, you're married, you got kids, you got grandkids, you got a family, and it could be 10, 15, 20 years later, the vast majority of us think like adults, right? At least the most of us think like adults. But then there are some people who want you to accept the fact and the reality that even when it is 10, 15, 20 years later, that what's the word I'm looking for? That there is a social order where even when you get in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, some people still want to relive those days in high school. Now, you might say, Alexander Oden, what does this YouTube video have to do with the title that you suggest? Okay, what this has to do is YouTubers, when they create art, when they create content, 99.999%, there were people who did not like Alexander Oden in high school and college. Now, for reasons explained and for reasons not explained, it didn't matter if I played sports or if I didn't play sports. It didn't matter if I was popular or not popular. 99.9999%. Nobody liked it, Alexander Oden, in junior high, high school, and college. Now, you fast forward 14 years later. I'm 34 years old. It may not look like it. It may not seem like that I'm 34 years old, but I am 34. 14 years later, guess what? Cha-ching. Nobody likes Alexander Oden from the days of high school and college. Now, some people might say maybe if you weren't such an a-hole, even when I wasn't, there were times where I was considered too nice. You know, there's that term on YouTube, being a nice guy, right? That's what I was in all of junior high and high school. I was way too nice. There were people who didn't like me because I was too nice. There were people because I was too mean. There were people who hate me in general. Didn't matter if I did my best to be on their good side, walking on eggshells. They didn't like me. Now that I'm popular on YouTube, guess what? They still don't like me. I could talk about anything. I'll give you a good and prime example of what I'm talking about. You see how the title of the video is called Sex Game, right? Okay. some people might say you make some good content, but I've gotten this question like 4 or 5 times, and they've asked me, why do you call all your YouTube videos sex game? Like, what is the real reason for you naming everything sex games? Well, I'm about to give you 5 reasons why I call all my YouTube videos on all my channels, past and present, sex games. See, I like to talk about multiple subjects. I like to talk about television and film. I like to talk about television and film. I like to talk about video games, comic books, anime. I like to talk about sex and dating. I like to talk about poetry, music, sports, entertainment. And I wanted to break into Hollywood and become a film director and a screenwriter. And I thought at the time YouTube was the best way to do that. Now you fast forward 6 years later, I'm already out of high school and college, and I have a job like everybody else. And when I talk about videos, I talk about stuff that people like. I talk about television, film, filmmaking, video games, comic books, anime, poetry and art, sports and music, sex and dating. All of that I talk about in these YouTube videos. And 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, I would get a lot of good comments in my videos. I've had good comments, bad comments. I've had racist comments. Yes, I've had those too. I've had people like my videos. I've had people dislike my videos. I've had people come up to me in person and say I'm their inspiration and I inspire them. And then I've had people come up to me in person and give me this sour look like, I don't understand why you're on camera making videos. I've had all of that. I've had my good days. I've had my bad days. Now, I try my best to make good content, and when content creators make videos, right, there's a thing called rumors. We've all heard of it in high school and college, even at work, at the gym, the nightclub, the bar, wherever you may go, 99.999%, there's a thing called rumors. Now, when you do a thing called rumors, people can make assumptions about you that's not true. Like, it doesn't matter if you're in high school or college. You have had friends walk up to you and tell you at PE or at nutrition or lunch and tell you 99.99% that such and such said such and such. And you probably tried to ignore it a total of 5 to 10 times because it was rude and disrespectful to talk about that man or woman behind their back, and that person can't defend themselves or give you the explanations on why A, B, and C was said. Now, it could be 10, 15, 20 years later that you've graduated from high school and college. You know, you get married, you have kids, you move to a new city, a new state, and it could be 10, 15, 20 years later, and somebody still remember the things that you said and did in high school and college, and it could be 10, 15, 20 years later. Now, what that is someone trying to destroy somebody's reputation because they don't like what they said, how they said it, why they said it, and the person obviously wants to ruin that person's reputation because they want to build themselves up so they can have confidence in themselves. It's called tear one person down and build somebody up. That means everywhere I go, right? That means if I go to work and people see my YouTube videos, 99.99%, they can either take what I do in a positive way or in a negative way. And a friend of mine, who's my producer, said he was going to make a YouTube video called Could YouTube Actually Cause Your Downfall? With jobs, because he was trying to tell me that a lot of the big name YouTubers say lots of highly controversial stuff and things. And now I'm gonna give you another good prime example of this. We all know who George Lucas is, right? We all know who Steven Spielberg is, right? Okay. Now this is like 25 years ago. Steven Spielberg got criticized for a lot of his movies. A lot of his critical acclaimed movies, especially Michael Bay. You know who Michael Bay is. Michael Bay, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg. They're all great film directors. They're all great film producers, screenwriters. They've been in Hollywood for years, made television and films. Big names in Hollywood filmmaking. It's why I want to break into television and film. It's my dream. It's my passion. Now, no matter what George Lucas does, or Steven Spielberg, or Michael Bay. Now, I think we all can agree that nobody likes those Transformer movies. But I think we all can agree that he's been criticized. And you know what they call that? Film critics. Now, what do film critics do? Film critics criticize filmmakers, right? You could have the best sound, the best picture, the best screenwriter, the best producer, the best director, and you could have the best picture or the best television show, 99.999%, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and you'll get criticized for just about anything. You get people that get criticized for good acting, bad acting. It could be the best picture, best sound, best director, best screenwriter, best movie, best actor. And still, somehow, some way, the film critics will find something negative, let's say, about your movies and your television shows. Now, you translate that into terms of YouTube, right? You have what they call YouTube critics. YouTube critics is someone who criticizes people's YouTube videos. Someone could say you got a bad camera, or your filmmaking quality on the camera is terrible. You need to get a brand new camera. So guess what? I buy a new camera, new sound, new quality, new picture, and change up the title of the video. And guess what? No matter what I do, someone will always criticize the YouTube videos. Now, why they'll do it? I guess it's beyond me, but the nature of the reality is they will do it. Now, why they'll do it? Because that's what they do. Now, how does this affect you in the real world? Okay, I'm going to use television and filmmaking to explain how the same thing can hurt a YouTuber. Now, when you make YouTube videos, you have to be careful what you say, because 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, people are always watching. That means at work, at school, at the gym, at the park, at the beach, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, someone's watching my videos. And I have to be careful what I say. Now, it can hurt your chances at work, because you can get brought into the H&R office. And when you get brought into the H&R's office, it starts with them saying, well, we got complaints that you did A, B, C, and D. So that's the first time you get in trouble. Second time you get in trouble, they might say something on the lines like, we've already told you this twice. Now, by the time you get to your third warning, you're like on thin ice. Now, that means nobody wants to be around you. Nobody wants to talk to you. And whether you're on the bus, you're on the train, somebody will not want to be around you. And being a YouTube superstar is the closest thing to being a Hollywood movie star. You look at big name actors in Hollywood. There are people who like these Hollywood actors, and there are people who do not like these Hollywood actors. Like, you look at somebody like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? He's a former professional wrestler. Now he does movies. He does television shows. There are a lot of people in Hollywood that do not like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. There are people who like him. There are people who don't like him. Well, there are people who like YouTubers. There are people who hate YouTubers. I have people who like my content. I have people who hate my content. Doesn't matter where I go. Now, I can change the name from Sex Game to something else, and I can guarantee you I can change it 5 or 10 times, and no matter how many times I change the title of the video, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, someone will find something negative to say and say, well, I don't like the title of the video. Well, I don't like the camera that he's using. I don't like the fact that he films in the same location. I want him to film in multiple locations. I could do that. I could film in multiple locations, and 5 people will thumbs up the video and 50 people will thumb down the video. I could film in multiple locations, have the best camera, the best sound, the best quality, and then turn around and someone will still not like my videos. Now, I'm not perfect. I have good days, I have bad days. Now, have I said some stuff in the past that I live to regret? Yes, I have. Have I gotten consequences and learned from those painful lessons? Yes, I have. But that's life and you move on. Now, there's a such thing of a grudge. That means you say one thing or you do one thing wrong to a man or a woman, and it could be 10, 15, 20 years later, and people will never forget that you said something rude and disrespectful. Not only that it destroys your integrity and compromise your intelligence as a human being, you also ruin and damage the reputation of yourself, and you also hurt other people's reputation. That means your friends, your family. Now nobody wants to talk to you. Nobody wants to be around you because every time they see a YouTube video, they get angry and upset because of what you're saying, and they don't like what you're saying because you've never opened your mouth. I'm just giving you examples on what YouTubers go through. You have people who criticize YouTubers. Now, sometimes you might hear this, and I was told this in film school by my professor. All it takes is for you to say one thing stupid and do one thing stupid, and you could ruin your whole entire future in an instant. It doesn't take 3 or 4 or 5 years to ruin your future. All it takes is for you to say one thing wrong, do one thing wrong, and nobody wants to talk to you on the bus, on the train. Nobody wants to talk to you when they see you coming in public. I'm just trying to tell you what YouTubers experience. Now, I've seen some good YouTubers. I've seen some bad YouTubers. I've seen YouTubers have their channels terminated, and then 5 months later or 2 years later, they make a brand new channel and they start all over again, and they get acceptance and they get forgiven. Then I've seen some people never get their channels back, like no matter how many years it go by. Now, rumors get started when a person don't like you. Rumors can take place anywhere. Rumors can take place at work, at school, at the park, at the beach. Sometimes people have reasons for why they start rumors, and sometimes people have reasons, whether they have reasons or don't have reasons, and they'll start rumors. So basically what I'm trying to say to you in this video is that YouTubers get compared to like celebrities. People start rumors, and if you've been in high school and college, you can relate to it. The basketball players, the football players, the baseball players, the track stars, they get all the respect, all the attention when they're in high school and college, and they date the most beautiful, most physically, sexually attractive women because they're the captain on the basketball team, the football team, the baseball team, the track team. And the women have the same thing. You get black women, white women, Latino women who become popular in high school and college, and they date the captain. So if the woman become homecoming queen or prom queen, guess what? You got some women that are mad because they didn't become homecoming queen. They didn't become prom queen. And it's the same thing with men. You get men that become the homecoming king or the prom queen. The prom queen dates the prom king, and the homecoming king dates the homecoming queen. That's in high school and college. So you have two groups of people, popular people and non-popular people. Now, when you graduate from high school and college and it's 10, 15, 20 years later, you got people that still act like they're still back in high school. Most of us be mature adults, and most people be back, what? Back in high school. And that's a part of life. Now, YouTube can either make you or it can break you. It can help and enhance your career, or it can hurt and ruin your reputation. And not just ruin your reputation, it can also ruin friendships. You have people who never seen me make YouTube videos 14 years ago, and all of a sudden they see one video, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 videos and go, he ain't never told me that he do social media. He ain't never told me that he do YouTube videos. I'm telling you right now. So this is to explain what happens when doing YouTube goes into a bad light. I'm talking about the person that creates content. The purpose of creating content is to create entertainment. It's like being a basketball player, right? How many times have you seen professional athletes get criticized, right? You look at sports. You look at when Peyton Manning lost a Super Bowl, right? He lost and a Super Bowl. And he got criticized because he lost 2 Super Bowls and won 2 Super Bowls. When Tom Brady was playing with the New England Patriots and he lost 2 times to the Super Bowl Giants, he got criticized for losing to the same team twice and 2 Super Bowls. So when you win the championship, everybody give you respect and credit. And when you lose the Super Bowl, nobody wants to hear excuses that you lost the Super Bowl. You lose the World Series, nobody wants to hear that you lost the World Series. You lose the NBA Finals, nobody wants to hear that you lost the NBA Finals. They're called sports critics. They criticize athletes and sports. Television and film, we got film critics and television and film. Now you look at YouTube, social media, you got people who will criticize you for being a YouTuber. And I've experienced a lot of good stuff and I've experienced a lot of bad stuff. Now, I have my good days and I have my bad days. It's like what Allen Iverson said, sometimes basketball is easy, sometimes basketball is hard. Translation, sometimes making YouTube videos is easy, sometimes making YouTube videos is very hard and complicated. I'm human. I'm a human being. I have feelings. I have emotions. I have my good days and my bad days. I have my ups and my downs. Now, does that mean I want someone to pity me or feel sorry for me because I made not 1, not 2, not 3, but 5 or 6 or even 10 mistakes? No. Life is a part of learning from those mistakes. If you told me 14 years ago that I was going to become a big name on YouTube, I would have never believed it. 14 years later, I'm popular, so now I understand what that basketball player was trying to tell me in high school. When you become popular and you get all the respect and all the attention from men and women, you're going to get a group of player haters that don't like you for whatever reason. Some people have reasons on why they don't like me to this very day, and then there's some people who don't have to have 5 or 10 reasons to hate me. They don't even have to have reasons at all. They just hate me. Sometimes they don't like the way I look. Sometimes they don't like the way I talk. Sometimes they don't like when I make a YouTube video and then it gets uploaded, video goes viral, and then all of a sudden it ends up on their cell phone. There are some people who do not want me on their cell phones. But it's like, it's 2020. Look at the circumstances. I can't go to the movie theater because it's closed. I can't go to the gym. I can't work. And the one thing I tried to do is try to express how I feel to people because I'm trying to be as relatable to as many people as I possibly can. So this YouTube video was to explain how it can happen. Now, I would say be very careful about what you say because 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, somebody's always watching me. So I'm very mindful of what I say. I get it all the time from my producers because my producers watch my videos and my producers tell me no profanity language, no favoring other genders over one. So I try to learn from my mistakes. And like I said, at the end of this video presentation, I apologize if I offended any woman or any man, young or old, black or white, on the last 2 or 3 YouTube uploads. I apologize for it because I'm just trying to make these videos gender neutral because that was the one complaint that my producer complained to me 4 times. Stop favoring other people over older people and make it equal and make it a fair balance and no favoritism. He doesn't like the favoritism, so he expressed it to me. He told me he wanted me to come on camera and make a public apology, and he told me it better be up to his liking. So I'm abiding by his terms and the terms of YouTube. So I just wanted to make this video because for a long time people have asked me that billion-dollar question: why do you call all your YouTube videos Sex Game? And the answer is quite obvious. I like to talk about television, film, filmmaking, comic books, video games, anime, art, poetry, music, sports, sex and dating. That's why I call it Sex Game. It's to get people to watch my channel. It's to get views, to get subscribers. You ask any YouTuber this, 99.99%, why do you make videos? And they're going to tell you, I want to get views. I want to get subscribers. I want to push a positive message. I want to show people that I'm a positive person, a positive thinker. And the reality is, some people are going to believe it. Some people are not going to believe it. Some people will take me serious. Some people will think I'm a joke, a cartoon character joke. Some people will support me and watch my content, and some people will hate me and not watch my content. But by the end of the day, you ask the big names and the small name YouTubers, and they will tell you, we all do it to entertain and create art. That's what, to me, that's what being a YouTuber is creating art. Now, I don't mean to make this video way too long, because my producer also do not like me making long videos. So,